G'day YouTube, my name's Lance and welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well look, at the moment I've got a bench with shit everywhere over it. We've had a few jobs going on. I'll just pan you over a little bit. Look at that. Oh, lovely. And I've been mucking around with a couple of projects at home here. Apart from doing my little tractor, I've found another couple of brain farts I thought I'd hop into. But look, first of all, the weather report. Now look, the days are 25, 26. We even had a couple up to 28 degrees. Early last week, we must have got a smidgen of a frost. They reckon it was 5.7 one morning early. And on our pumpkins in the veggie garden, they got a bit of a couple of little brown leaves from around the edge there. So, but they're all going good. Yeah, it hasn't rolled it and anything like that. They're still up and racing, so that's a good thing. So, but now we're back to short sleeves and t-shirts and things like that for a while. I think the warm weather's staying, they're saying, but I suppose time will tell. So if it's good next Sunday, I'm going fishing. The tides are right. They reckon on the south wall of the Bundaberg, the Burnett River in Bundaberg here, the brim are coming in, and on the sand flats up near the mouth there's a few whiting coming in. So we'll see how we go with buggering around in the boat, and perhaps we'll get out and catch a fish and have a bit of fun. Take the grandkids or the daughter, or take someone. And you can't take Kelly dog, she just barks all the time. But so yeah, next week hopefully the weather stays good and we'll chuck the boat in and have a play. But the postie came again, and Bang Good sent me 2 more tool holders to do a review on, and I've used them over here. I can't find anything wrong with them. I reckon they're good gear, but they're as good as any of the others I've had. And I did a bit of a run yesterday on the sander, and look, that's okay. The belt, I chucked the belt. I come in the wrong way just on the tractor to try and get a little piece, and it flung the belt off, but and broke it. But apart from that, yeah, all seems good in the Bang Good department. And the only other thing that came in was, I was telling you about last week, was a Morse taper live centre with a small chuck, a 60mm chuck on the end. And look, I just thought, boy, that'd be a handy thing just for holding things and buggering about. And yeah, I just thought it'd be an interesting bit of gear. You could hold something in it. You get a couple of, you don't get a chuck key as such. You get a couple of dowel pins, I suppose, for want of a better word, and that's how you nip them up. But I haven't tried it yet, but that's about it. With the tool caddy on the lathe I did last week, I looked at it green and I thought, oh bugger it, time for a change. So I'll give you a photo of that later on. It's I painted it Massey Ferguson grey, so that's a good thing. It looks nice. I've got 8 tapers on there, 8 Morse tapers on there, plus a few lathe tools and bits and pieces, so that's come up pretty good. Now, I went and got a new tooth. Bloody flash. Hard to find a better looking bloke now. Bloody, just don't look too hard, eh? Yeah, I went in and I took my tooth in and I fessed up that I've been super gluing it in, and I said, what? I said, I've been super gluing it in. I said, last time I got it done, it cost me $6,000 for other dental work, but this cap. And it did only last about 3 months, and we were away when it broke, and so yeah, that's when I started gluing it in. So anyway, it was getting to the stage where it wouldn't stay in, so I went and saw them, and I said, oh okay, so they put a temporary one in. So next Friday I got to go and get this one knocked out again, and they give you a new front tooth and they tell you don't to chew with it. Well, I don't look like the sort of bloke that starves, eh? But so anyway, I'm trying to be a bit careful with my new tooth, and yeah, next Friday I think they knock it back out again and they start doing the preparation for another proper crown. So I'll probably have to save up for that. no tool purchases coming up, I'd say. But anyway, that's how it all goes. You got to chug along with all that sort of thing. So last week I got into, I started. There's a bit of footage on the arbour press, the Hare and Forbes arbour press. I chucked her in the big old lathe, the big old Maxon over here, and I turned the end down, and that's a nice job. And that will now make it so I can make little adapters for, well, whatever I choose to. And it's nice and true on the end compared with the rest now, so that's a good thing. Now, I've just been playing around just before I started the stew on, oh shit, bloody sharp edge. And I left it sharp because I've got to put a straight edge across it shortly. And I've surfaced the front plate, and that was that little fly cutter I made quite a few months ago now. And the little fly cutter, it's just a parallel, you know, it's got the tool going out straight and the tool's got the angle on it, but for a piece of cast, that is hard. I thought it would probably just be, you know, a bit of grey cast iron or something like that, where you get a bit of lead or a bit of grey shit everywhere. But that's hard. Sparks coming off the fly cutter when I'm running across there. So I tried a few different speeds and feeds. I got halfway through and my camera card filled up, so I grabbed another one and off we went again. It's one of those jobs. I looked at the camera card the other day and I thought I'll have to download all that and, you know, put it on a backup file, but I didn't do it. And so look, that's the one side. That's looking nice. Now I've got nice flat surfaces to put a lock nut on or bolt this up to, and instead of that rough cast that they had. So the idea now is to sit it on that surface and tidy up the back end, and then we'll machine out a little square here for a brass plate to rub up against the main pinion here. So hopefully I'll have a bit of time to film some more of that today, and we'll be able to fit it into the stew. So that's all we've done with the fly cutter. Oh, sorry, with the arbour press so far. Yeah, just knocked out 4 clips last week by the time we did a couple of YouTube ones and a couple of Fergie ones, and then the press shit itself. So I've actually changed all the press around now to where it was, and so by the time I did a stew, then fixed the press and did a couple of ones on me Fergie, well, it was time to go back to work. And but on Monday I went and bought a little kettle. It's like a Weber barbecue, but they call it a Ziggy. And so the Savo, I've got a few pork ribs there hooked in, so after lunch there won't be any work today. I'm pretty sure we'll be up the shed. Judy's bringing me back a bottle of Jacob's Creek Shiraz. I got onto that last night. And young bloke, my young fella, he's turning 27 on Tuesday. His name's Tim, and I see Chuck's young fella Tim. They must be the same age, our two Tims, and our Tim's a disability carer. Was an NZ man, a hose doctor, and gave that away to become a disability carer, and just loves it, you know. And I'm not sure I would love it. I'm probably sure I wouldn't. And he loves it. But anyway, we went out for dinner last night for his birthday to Sambrosa Steakhouse in Bundaberg, and lovely feed. But they they have a thing there where there's a bit of a challenge to see if you can eat this steak. So they give you a 1 kilo eye fillet steak, 500 grams or half a kilo of chips and half a kilo of vegetables. So you've got 2 kilograms of food on your plate, and it's only $50. And if you get through it in half an hour, your meal's only $25. I reckon I should bloody give it to you. But the meal's only $25, and you get a T-shirt saying you're one of the few people that did it. But a fella, not at our table, but a fella had a crack at it last night. But boy, that 2 kilos is a lot of tucker to get through. So what would 2 kilos be? 4.5, 5 pounds in miles an hour, I'd say. Yeah. So anyway, the poor bugger didn't do it, but he was enjoying himself. We had a good time, and we had a few wines. I should have bought the bottle. You know, you think, oh yeah, I might have a wine. Instead of drinking beer and getting all bloated and all that, I thought, oh, I'll have a wine. So I had a look and I thought, oh, Jacob's Creek Shiraz, that'll be all right. Well, it's $6.60 a glass, and you get about this much in a glass. And I thought, gosh, shit, that's not much. And but anyway, I had 6 of them, so I should have bought the bottle. The bottle was only $22. So anyway, it was good, but yeah, nice. I got the missus. The missus is going over to the daughters today for a bit of a yarn and put a paling on the fence of all things, but secret women's business. And so yeah, so just grab a bottle of that Jacob's Creek Shiraz again. So I reckon this afternoon it'll be cooking in the pool room. I'll try and remember to take the camera up, and I'll give you a bit of a look at what we're up to up there. It's a fun place to be. I enjoy it up there. No work gets done, but I like to have a bit of a cook up, and I have a few snappy beers, and I put a 60-inch TV up on the wall so I can watch motorsports and anything like that. So I just don't get enough time to spend in there. So, but anyway, enough waffle. I've also, like Harold says, every job starts at the bandsaw. So I've got a heap of bits of angle iron cut, and look, I'll zoom you in onto the bench and I'll show you what I'm up to. Okay, these are all bits of angle iron I've cut, and what I'm up to is I'm going to make a Christmas tree of lathe tool holders, and the idea is to weld a piece of angle iron onto the plate here, and then just drop that tool holder over it. And I have a few circles that were scrapped from the local laser cut fella. Look, it's even got a centre popped in there. How lucky is that? That one hasn't. But yeah, on the top one, this one here's a threading tool, and yeah, well, by the time you get them over to the edge and just zap them on, I do have room there for 4, I believe, on this little one, and so I'll just, actually here's a boring bar over here, so I was going to have all the boring bars on the one going the same way. So up the top here, I reckon I can have 4 boring bars with their, and even if they're still sticking out a bit long, they've got room to clear the next one. And so 4 on the top, there's room for 5, I believe, on this bottom one. So I've got to tidy these bits of stuff up yet, but there's room for 5 tool holders there, and say we use a couple of these, there's plenty of room for 5. And a couple of bits of angle iron, I've just got to sand the edge on it. A couple of them are just a little bit too tight, but yeah, I reckon I can fit 5 around the next 3 layers and 6 on the lower layer. So what was happening with the other day when I bought the quick change tool post holder when Hare and Forbes had their sale, that gave me another 4 tool post holders, and Bang Good were going to send me a couple when they said, oh, we've only got 3, but they only sent 1, and I thought, oh well, that's it, they're only sending 1. But they come along later with the other 2 that we spoke about earlier, so a little knurling one. And so anyway, it turns out I've got 26 tool holders now, so I'm just about tool holdered out. Yeah, I know I've been a bit of a sucker for buying a couple of tool holders, but I do not need any more. But the funny thing is, I've got different tools. You know, by the time you have, you know, your little diamond tool holders and your boring bars and your threading tools and all that sort of thing, I've got many, you know, different size boring bars, you know, going right down for the fine work. By the time we have 26 tool holders, they actually all have tools in them. So, and it'll sort of be a Christmas tree, and then on a carousel. So we're going to try and put a bearing in the middle, say a 3/4 shaft and a bearing in the middle, and it'll have 4 on the top, 5 on here, 5 there, 5 there, then 6 on the bottom one. Then I can still have 1 up the chamber of the tool post holder. So look, I don't know how far we'll get with that this weekend. I just thought I'd make a start and cut the angle irons and get the steel organised and things like that. I've got to pop the holes in, but I started that and I thought, oh, you haven't finished your bloody arbour press yet. So one job at a time, just try and finish something off. So that's the way I've gone with it. Now that's the tool holder we did last week, all painted in Massey Ferguson grey, and look, that's come up great. I'm very pleased with that, and I've got I'll take the DRO out of the road so you can actually get a little bit more light in there to see what's going on. But yeah, look, that's a good thing. Yeah, I still have a bit of room here for tool holders. The new carousel on my tray here, where I have all my the bigger boring bars and things like that. The new tool holder carousel will sit over in here when I get it done. So anyway, that's what we're up to with that. But yeah, we have no shortage of tool holders. Got boring bars to go in them, and yeah, so yeah, nice rounded edge ones for if we need to put a bearing on something or something like that. So I'm looking forward to getting that done and get a bit of more organisation in the place and stop it being such a mess. Now look, this is a little bit of something for Emma. Emma owns a YouTube channel called Spare Room Machine Shop, and she gets into making little projects. She's just been making T-slots and little holders, or little T-holders to go in her T-slots, I should say, on her shaper, and she's been scraping away. She's got a beautiful little hand shaper, but anyway, so I reckon Emma's going to have one big arm and one little arm. She's going to have to do something there, but sorry Emma. And, but look, I sent Emma a block, and this block here, I sent Emma one the same, and one of them had a little leg broken off it, and that was the one I sent to Emma. And she was asking the other day on how to put a foot back on it. And look, I have no idea what grade of material they are or anything. It's just, I was at the scrappies, I saw a couple of these, and I thought, right, I'll just pick them up. And then with Emma, with her shaper and things like that, I thought, oh, yeah, it might be a nice little project for her, and she seems to like surface plates and things like that. So I thought, well, that might be an ideal opportunity for a bit of practice, and then hand scrape it, or whatever she chooses to do, or whatever you choose to do with it, Emma. But on when you ask about the legs here on possibly YouTube Machinists on the Facebook page, might have been, well, I had thought originally about just surfacing it flat, and that way whatever surface you have it on later on, it's fully supported. And the reason I say that is, here's a surface plate I own, and there's a story about this surface plate. I used to work at Australian Airlines, and I was 2IC at maintenance department on Great Keppel Island Resort, and we used to have 17 blokes in the department. And but anyway, when I took over as a mechanic or the fitter for the place, there was a bit of a jumble there, and there was a heap of stuff going out into the scrap, and it was just under the bench, and there was just a pile of shit under the bench like you wouldn't believe. And the boys are saying, well, just chuck all that in the scrap and, give you a bit of a clean up, give you a good start. And anyway, in the process of them cleaning it up, I just spotted this thing, and I said, you can't chuck that out, that's a surface plate. And they said, oh, is it? Oh, I've been under the bench for years now, and it's just got bashed around under the bench. And look, there is a little mark here. It probably needs truing up, I'd say. But look, the reason I've brought this up is look underneath it. It's nice and flat, and being flat, if you sit this on a flat surface, it'll be fully supported all the way. So so that's what I wanted to show you, Emma. Just yeah, if you if you get to machining this little piece I sent you, if you do it nice and flat like that, well, this is a bought one, obviously, and that's how they decided to do it. So ever since, I've kept it in a little old box that sits in there with a little bit of wet and dry if I need to dress anything down or something like that. And look, that was in 1988, so it's still sitting in this little dirty old box. The box is grubby, but yeah, Emma, I just thought I'd like to show you that, just as as something to think about with that little plate, because I thought, well, it might make a nice surface plate, and if it doesn't make a surface plate, it might make something nice just to sit something onto machine or something like that. But it's up to you, Emma. I just thought that come to mind. I've been meaning to put it into a stew to show you. Well, there you go. I'm certainly no A-bomb, but that's going to be the end of the press, and we should be able to make adapters to come up over here that I can put up there with universal joints. We do a lot of universal joints with a 27mm cup, so I can make an adapter to come down to 27mm for doing that job. Water pumps are 5/8 of an inch. The water pump bodies are 30mm, so now I can make little adapters for whatever I choose, and away we go. So that shouldn't be a bad thing. I think it's an improvement anyway. If I can keep it in frame, it'll be an improvement. Well, there you go. I've just torn a bit of metal out of the middle there to make it a little bit deeper, and then we took some off each side of the bar here, so that when this pushes up, if I can, so when this pushes up on the back of the main rod here on the rack, I've got a bit of adjustment coming in here. Now it only has to go in like 1/2 millimetre, so I've just got plenty of meat there, and this sits down inside nicely, so I might just polish this bit up a little bit. I'll give that a bit of a sand just so it doesn't wear so quickly. And off and raising. Hey, a bit of glare, you nearly had to put your sunnies on there, didn't you? Well, there you go. That's our stew for the week. A bit different this week. I'm jumping all over the road like a madman, and yeah, a few different yeah, look here and look there instead of just sitting there for a chat. So there may be a little bit more machining in of fly cutting this front plate. I'll probably persist with that this morning and see how it goes. But we're getting a lovely finish. It's hard. Like, we have sparks coming off it, so it must be what they call the chilled casting. That they cast it, then they chill it too quick and it sort of goes hard, because most of the cast I've ever had much to do with, you don't get sparks off it. And I'm using a carbide tip on the fly cutter, and it's a slightly rounded one. I didn't want a real pointy one. I thought, oh, I'll just do a slightly rounded one in the hope of getting a nicer finish. So but anyway, we'll see. So that'll have to do for this week. look, thanks for watching and supporting the channel. Watch a few ads for me and put a little remark down the bottom, have a bit of a chat, and we'll catch you next week, eh? See ya.